You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Now on the Mo Kelly Show, it's Tiffany Hobbs, the viral load.
She'll speak of all the viral things social media can bring.
Facebook, Insta, X, TikTok, the viral load with Tiffany Hobbs. Viral load, viral load, the viral load. Viral load with Tiffany Hobbs.
KFI AM 640. It's Later with Mo Kelly, live on social media and the iHeartRadio app. Let's get to Tiffany Hobbs and the viral load.
Here we go. Good evening, everyone. In death, there are more than a few options for your remains or the remains of your loved ones. Of course, you can opt into the burial plot. You can get put into a tree pod. Of course, you can be cremated. And if you choose cremation, there are quite a few creative things that can be done with your ashes. Some people like to keep them in a conventional urn. Some people like to put them in other places. And you can even have your ashes or part of your ashes put into a locket to wear around your neck or keep as a keepsake.
Huh?
Yes. One man found this out kind of in a strange way, but it does have a really heartwarming twist. So there's a man, his name is Thomas Flavin. He's from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and he went to one of those pick-apart salvage yards to try and find a part for his car. And as he was looking through parts, he came across a Jeep in the junkyard. He goes to the Jeep, he inspects it, he likes what he sees. I'm a Jeep owner, so shout out to Thomas Flavin for that. And what he decided to do is he opened the door, he looked at the dash, looked up at the rearview mirror and saw a locket or a necklace hanging from the rearview mirror. He said he originally was going to take the necklace and give it to his daughter as a gift. Interesting guy, this Thomas Flavin. Must have been a nice looking locket. But what he realized upon further inspection of the locket is that it had a screw top at the top of the heart or whatever the shape was, indicating that perhaps something was inside of the locket because it didn't open like a conventional locket would. So he opened the locket and was able to glean that there were ashes of some sort inside. What he then did is what made the story, or what's making the story currently, go viral. He posted on Facebook and he welcomed people to try and find the original owner of the locket, not the deceased person, but anyone who might be a family member.
Yeah, but if you find one, you'll figure out the other.
Exactly. So he put an all call out using social media. And to this date, he's had thousands upon thousands of replies. Of course, not everyone is going to be legit, but a lot of people are there on social media wishing him well and being really taken back by his altruistic and compassionate response. But yeah, he's hoping the rightful owner will come forward. And if you feel you are the rightful owner, that you were in this salvage yard at the Gilcrease Expressway in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Thomas Flavin is going to require you to verify the make, model, and location of the vehicle it came from. Interesting story.
Maybe you can follow up on this if someone comes forward.
I want to. And as of right, you have a lot of people who are being silly and you know, when you put out an all call on social media, it's hard to vet the responses you're going to get.
Oh, you can't.
You can't. But this is a very heartwarming effort by Thomas Flavin. Our next story, a little less heartwarming. It has to do with treatment in relationships, kind of a barometer that's being set on social media. When women have this conversation about their spouses, about their mates, and the treatment that they're receiving in a relationship, many people weigh in and say that there are certain markers of good treatment. That marker might be that your spouse fills up your gas. These were sourced from the internet. These are not my own, so I'll just go down the list. That filling up your car without gas, without you having to ask, is a marker of a good spouse. That opening the door for you, that's good. Carrying your bags, good. Paying for nail appointments, good. Bringing you coffee in bed,
what?
Good. Running errands for you when you're
attacked.
tired, good. Taking care of you when you're sick, ding, 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 ding. good. The question that's going viral is, are these acts what you would call the bare minimum in a relationship, or are they something called princess treatment? The term princess treatment is all over social media, especially if you've spent time on TikTok over the last couple of weeks. There's a debate over what princess treatment entails. And there's a video that's gone highly viral. We're going to play a clip from that now from content creator Courtney Palmer, who says this is the only way to live.
Let's talk about princess treatment if you're at a restaurant and how you interact with the waitstaff and the hostess. If I am at a restaurant with my husband, I do not talk to the hostess, I do not open any doors, and I do not order my own food. So someone had sent me a message a couple weeks ago asking about, like, let's say your husband drops you off and he goes to park the car, what do you do? Or if it's raining or something like that and he wants you to put your name down. And I had a very similar situation happen to me with my husband a couple weeks ago. I'll put her question on the screen so you can see exactly what she's saying. But me and my husband pulled up to a restaurant and he wanted to run in and see. We didn't have a reservation. He wanted to run in. Well, we didn't have a reservation, so we wanted to go up and see if it was possible for us to get in. He pulled the car up at the valet station. I stayed in the car. He got out of the car, told the valet, I'm just going to run in and ask a question. I'm going to leave my car here. I sat in the car while he ran in and asked them. They said, yeah, we have space for you. And my husband said, okay, I'm going to go get my wife and then I'm going to park the car. So he comes back out, opens my car door, walks me into the restaurant, opens the door, and I stand and wait. I did not make eye contact with the hostess. I did not talk to her. I waited until my husband came back. He comes back.
We can cut it
does
there,
the exchange
Steph.
with her, and then I went and sat down.
She's wearing me out just listening to her. Jeez. I couldn't deal with that.
Doesn't she sound like a peach? She's a catch, this Courtney Palmer.
If she's happy with her husband and her husband is happy with her, God bless them. But golly.
And this is the debate that is raging all over social media, led by Courtney Palmer, whose voice we just heard. And she is insisting that sort of treatment, that sort of interaction indicates that you are being treated like a princess in your relationship and you should accept nothing less, ladies. This is what she's saying. I'm not subscribing to Courtney Palmer, but this is all the rage on social media.
Okay, I'm looking at a picture of her. It's like, ooh.
Can I be a princess?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How can I say this without being disrespectful while on my anniversary? I believe it is up for the couples to decide where their comfort zone is as far as level of treatment. I'll give you a perfect example. My mother, who's listening right now, to the day my father died, has never pumped gas. My father always did that for her, and subsequent to that, I've done it for my mother. But that was an understanding that they had as a couple. My wife doesn't get down like that. She doesn't want that type of unnecessary treatment, or at least in her eyes, unnecessary treatment. I think it's couple by couple. But if you're going to tell me, Courtney, what is the correct treatment of a woman in a relationship, FOH.
Many people follow this Courtney Palmer.
Well, they're stupid too.
And they are subscribing to everything she's saying. So there are debates, I'm sure, that are happening amongst households.
She probably has an OnlyFans page.
Probably.
The world.
What got me is okay, just take the princess part out of it. The fact that she had to establish the fact that she didn't make eye contact with the hostess.
Yeah.
Who do you think you are?
Who do you think you are?
It's like,
rude.
It's like Mike Pence's wife.
When we come back, we're going to have a fun little story
So inappropriate.
about a new TikTok challenge that is dangerous for teenagers. They love it. They're doing it. I'll share what it is with you. And also, if you're a fan of Acme and Warner Brothers, you'll really love this last viral story.
Finally.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Tiffany, live on KFI's Later with Mo Kelly. She'll talk about the topics on social media. The viral low with Tiffany Hobbs.
KFI AM 640 is Later with Mo Kelly. We're still live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app and social media. Now for part 2 of the Viral Load with Tiffany Hobbs.
Do you remember playing Ding Dong Ditch in your neighborhood?
Do I remember?
Did you do that?
More times than I care to remember.
Did you ever get caught?
Oh, yeah.
What happened?
Of course, this was before they had ring devices and everything. But yeah, now you have to worry about someone shooting you too.
Yes, and Ding Dong Ditch has evolved. There's a new TikTok challenge that
hell.
instead of kids just ringing your doorbell or knocking on your door and running away before you can open it, they're kicking on your door in hopes of kicking it in. Yes, new TikTok challenge is sweeping the nation with teenagers trying to kick your door in.
Didn't someone get shot for that?
I'm sure many people have tried to do that. Well, police are definitely saying that this new trend, of course, is illegal and extremely dangerous. They're warning kids all around the country. This is not central to any one part of the United States. It's happening everywhere because it's viral, which means it is global, honestly, that this trend could have deadly consequences. Of course, it's not the first dangerous trend that police in any area have had to deal with. There have been many dangerous trends, including the cinnamon challenge. Remember that, where people ingested a huge spoonful of cinnamon, which can be lethal if ingested improperly. And the Chromebook challenge, which I talked about a few weeks ago.
Were you trying to ingest a Chromebook?
That probably would be better. No, where people are trying to essentially blow up their Chromebooks by putting sharp devices into the different ports. But this new TikTok challenge of kicking people's front doors to the point where some are actually broken down is a popular challenge.
You're going to get shot. Just because obviously, if you kick the wrong door and you do damage to the door, someone's going to think you're breaking and entering. Me personally, I don't answer the door if I'm not expecting someone. Point blank.
Yeah.
You could be UPS man. You're going to leave the package there, and I know when I need to sign for one. So other than that, I'm not answering my door.
Probably wise. Also, something that's happening, which is leading people to believe that we as a nation may not necessarily be that wise when it comes to being able to discern between what's fact and what's fiction, is a new, well, not really new, a resurfaced photo that went viral in 2016 of what appears to be a painted tunnel on the side of a mountain. And on the side of the tunnel,
I saw this.
is not just there's not just the tunnel by itself. No, there's also the Roadrunner, our famous WB Roadrunner, painted alongside of this tunnel. The tunnel has been painted on this wall, on this side of a mountain, to look effectively like a real, true sized tunnel that your car could go through.
In the Wile E. Coyote Roadrunner cartoons.
In the Roadrunner cartoons. The photos of this painting first surfaced in 2016 after a driver reportedly crashed into the wall. At the time, the damage was said to be minor, and police treated what the painting was, as an act of vandalism. Locals labeled the prank dangerous and genius because there were people who were definitely enjoying the prank, and people considered it to be hyper realistic. The photos went viral. That was 2016.
That's another way you get your ass whooped too.
Now, 9 years later, these photos and the virality of the story are anew. They are back, and people are talking about it all over social media. I saw it maybe a couple of days ago, and people were remarking about how realistic it looked. And, oh man, that's really dangerous. Someone's going to get hurt. But the question that is also going viral is the painting real? Some say this entire story is a hoax. So the claim, again, went viral in March of 2016. It appeared all over the internet, especially on the website Reddit, which is an information sharing website, person to person. But the story was actually proven to be false in December of that year. The December article pinned the original painting to Brazil, while other outlets attributed it to Atlanta and even the UK. So people didn't even know where this originated. And what happened is word of mouth spread the story. Posting spread the story. But people who were interviewed not verified. The outlets didn't go about verifying the stories and the backstories. They ran with the sensationalism of the photo of this possible painting. And now that the lore is again making the internet rounds, it's not yet been fully proven to be false. So watch out for any Wile E. coyotes near tunnels.
See, the sad part about this is we do live in an age where you don't know if half the stuff you're looking at is real. If it's a real photo, if it's a real story, if it's a real
AI.
person, AI, all of those things. And we will forever be skeptical, and sometimes rightfully so, but unnecessarily so, because we doubt everything.
Everything.
Where we can't trust, for different reasons, news outlets. We can't trust pictures that we see. We can't trust these web portals that are posting these stories. What is real anymore? No one really knows.
What is real is probably the question. And stories like this just prove how quickly something can spread and that they can resurface almost a decade later with a brand new audience that will make the story fresh and new again, which is why we're talking about it on The Viral Load. You can catch me Saturdays, 5 to 7 p.m., Saturdays with Tiffany, right here on KFI AM 640. We'll talk about more of this and other things as well.
Hey, Tiffany, I don't want you to go away, because this next story, I want your input in, because I don't know if I purchased anything from Etsy ever, or anyone who had an Etsy store and purchased something from them. So Etsy was kind of janky adjacent in my world. It's like you get your own website, get your own store type thing, and instead you settle for Etsy.
Flea market-ish.
Yes, that's a good way to describe it. But when I see that witches, spells, and soulmates, digital witchcraft are a thing on Etsy, I gotta say, oh gosh.
You can sell anything.
You're confirming everything that I feared about Etsy. I want to get your thoughts about that.
Okay.
It's Later with Mo Kelly, KFI AM 640. We are live everywhere on social media and the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI AM 640 is Later with Mo Kelly. We're live on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and the iHeartRadio app. And I've never been a fan of Etsy. No shade per se. It's just I've never felt the need to buy anything off of anybody's Etsy website. It's kind of like, if you're going to be serious or be considered to be taken seriously, you need to have a real website. You need to have a real online marketplace location. Etsy just reeked of dime store to me. So when I see that there is a whole cottage industry of people buying weird stuff off of Etsy, it's yeah, that tracks. According to the Wall Street Journal, so-called Etsy witches are selling everything from love spells to spirit cleansings to soulmate sketches and good luck rituals. And people are buying it.
And what?
They're buying. It's weird.
They'll
It's
buy
like,
anything.
I'm talking about spells, soulmates, good luck rituals. One popular influencer reportedly hired an Etsy witch to ensure good weather on her wedding day. And it turned out that ended up with clear skies. I don't know if one had anything to do with the other. Another Los Angeles creative director bought a spell to help the New York Knicks supposedly win Game 5 of the NBA Eastern Conference Finals in May. The Knicks did win that game, but when he paid for another spell ahead of Game 6, they lost. I need to get on Etsy and just start selling BS.
So it works.
No. There's correlation is not causation. Okay. You know, let's say I sold you a spell where you're going to come into money tomorrow, and let's say you bought a lottery ticket and you won $100. I would say that's correlation. But I can guarantee you that I had nothing to do with that. I did not cause that. I don't have powers like that. And I promise you, if I could sell spells, I would be doing something else other than radio. That's for sure.
I think there's an element of confirmation bias with this as well, because if you're looking for the result, you're looking for the thing that you're paying for, And any semblance of that happens after you've paid, you're going to attribute it, if you paid this money, this investment you've made, to that thing, that product.
I can understand people will pay for psychics, and most people understand it's a form of entertainment. You know, I've had a reading, but if I thought that someone who was making $10.99 an hour could tell me my future, they wouldn't be making $10.99 an hour. But that's just me looking at it logically. But I understand you can have fun with some of this stuff, but I don't get the sense this is about fun. This is people spending their hard-earned money because they expect an actual result to come out of this.
Exploitation.
Yeah, because it kind of answers that question every time I drive past those psychic shops, and it looks like they're out of somebody's house. I'm like, how much money could they actually be making? But then I hear stuff like this, and I'm like, yeah, they're probably doing okay.
They're probably doing okay, but if someone actually could do the things that they're alleging to do,
They wouldn't be in their house.
they wouldn't know. They would be making all sorts of money. I'd be selling spells left and right. I would be putting curses and hexes on all the people I dislike. I would be making sure that Mark had a bad day every day.
I go,
I have a little I'll have a voodoo doll, and I'd be sticking him with pins.
Ow. Stop.
Just because.
Ow. Stop that.
Just to mess with Mark.
Why is my hair
That'd be
falling
funny
out?
to see him like jumping in his
Yeah,
seat.
it's like Mark will come in and is like, my back is hurting for some reason. I don't know. It's just something happened last night, and I'll just have a voodoo doll that I'd hold up with a pin in its back.
Keep trying. You got to try harder.
I know. Look, people actually pay for this stuff.
You know, Mo, I think no self-respecting, authentic practitioner of the dark arts or light arts or whatever you want to call them would put their things on Etsy unless they were trying to just make a quick buck. And, you know,
I guess
I don't
that
think
is.
the real stuff is on there.
You know, and this is a KTLA story. They do talk about psychics and how they will perform readings. Sometimes they get it right. Sometimes they get it wrong. I remember my mother and my sister went to see a psychic, but they went to it for an entertainment. They weren't expecting much out of it. And there was some things which were said was like, wow, that was pretty spot on, very specific. It made you think for a second that, wow, they might have known some things. But it's not like you go in banking on that. It's for entertainment purposes. I don't get it. And the last thing I would do is go to Etsy for a soulmate drawing for $24. You know, I wouldn't even tell people that. It's like, you spent $24 to do what?
Do what?
You did what? You did what? I just don't get it. Now, have you ever had a reading before?
No, and I don't want to have one. That kind of gives me the creeps. And I'm a believer in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a George Norrie listener.
Right.
Through
You and
through.
me both.
You and I both. But I am not interested in getting a reading for fear that they may say something that is too specific. I just don't want.
Well, there's a lot of bad news in life, and if they're just going to give me the good news, then I know they can't be legit. I will say this, to be absolutely serious. I do believe that there is far more in this world which is beyond our present level of understanding. Some people may call that supernatural. Some people may call that magic. Some people may call that aliens. Whatever. I'm just saying, in our limited understanding of this world, we've only had technology, honestly, for a good 100 years or so. Our period of enlightenment is a very, very small window. Okay? It wasn't too long ago that we couldn't even figure out antibiotics. Okay? We don't know everything as a species.
Right.
I say that to say there's plenty we don't know, and I don't rule out everything. But the things I will rule out, it'll be Etsy. And Etsy's not in that world.
And to Tiffany's point, if they say something negative, even if it's not true, you don't see it coming around the corner, you're kind of like, it's kind of like bad juju. You're kind of putting that negative thought out there.
Yes.
And it's kind of like The Secret. So you put out positive, you're going to get something back. So, that kind of, it'll mess with your mind. So I can see why you wouldn't want to do it,
The only time I got a reading from me, and I do remember it was, and to be fair, in a general sense, it was correct. It was at a Warner Brothers Records holiday party, and they had someone doing psychic readings. And I sat down and gave her my hand, did the hand, and talked about my life. And this is the year 2000. And she looked me right in the eye and said, I don't know exactly what it is, but you're getting ready to make a major career change. It's going to change your life. It's going to be major. It's like you're not going to have to wonder whether it's it. It's going to be that. And it was maybe a year and a half later, I got on the radio.
And see, some would say a year and a half later is not a small enough window to attribute it to the psychic.
But my point is, it fundamentally changed the rest of my life. Everything. Because I was working in the music industry. Next thing you know, I'm on the path for what I'm doing now, having no idea back in the year 2000. I never thought of being an on-air personality in a talk radio sense. Maybe in music radio, possibly. That was more of a shorter leap than talk radio. I listened to talk radio. I didn't think I would be in talk radio.
But I mean, the psychic at that point could have said, you're going to make a major leap in your career. And it could have turned out, obviously, in a different way. And that leap is subjective. So
it is, because I quit my job, that job, like maybe 6 months later.
So is it the psychic?
I don't know. I don't know.
You should go to Etsy and ask.
No, I should go to George Norrie and ask him when we come back.
Have you had any life-changing fortune cookies?
No, I can say that.
I see, okay.
Because the fortune cookies are always super, super vague and always positive.
Okay.
That's how I know they're full of ish. Because my life is not super, super positive. Bad stuff happens. It's like, and it's not even a fortune cookie anymore. If I go to Panda Express, sorry, but you're the only ones I get. When I go to Panda Express, it's not even a fortune. It says stuff like when you walk into a room, you light up the room or something like that. It's
like
not
an
a fortune.
affirmation.
Yeah, it's not.
Or like an instruction, it'll be like, not this direct, but like something like, straighten up in life or something like that.
Yeah, it's like, what am I supposed to do with that? Does that mean that am I going to get hit by a bus if I don't straighten up? What does that mean?
Yeah.
It's later with Mo Kelly. We'll check in with George Norrie and find out what's going on with Coast to Coast AM when we come back.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI AM 640 is Later with Mo Kelly. You know what's coming up next. It's Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. And he joins me now with a quick preview. Hey, George.
Mo, you've got a pretty lively discussion going on there.
I think you probably could add to it very quickly. You heard us talking about the idea of the supernatural and where it begins and ends, the people who are legit and the people who are just charlatans. Where you come out on that?
We've had some great psychics, and we've had some that weren't so good. But we've tried to vet them out and do the best we can. But there's some of them that are pretty uncanny with their accuracy.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer, before I let you go, I'm a firm believer that this world is beyond our understanding in many aspects. We have yet to catch up with all of its mysteries. Where do you come out on that?
So true on that, Mo. So true on that. And on the program tonight, we're going to talk about neural links of the brain and then spiritual warriors. We've got it all on Coast to Coast.
See, there we go. That's why I'm listening on my way home.
And we found a dream person for you. You'll be getting calls soon.
Please make sure Stefan, our technical director, gets the information.
Okay.
Talk soon.
Bye.
And sometimes I don't think people believe me. I sometimes, yes, I'm putting on an act. This is performance, but most of the time I'm being absolutely serious. If you say I love talking about UFOs, it's for real, because I believe in the mathematical certainty that we're not the only sentient beings in this vastness we call the universe. I'm positive, and we talked about the Fermi paradox as far as whether we've not run into aliens per se because we're existing in different times and points in history and location where we haven't overlapped. Our civilization is very, very young, comparatively speaking, but I believe there's so much more beyond our understanding, beyond our experiences, beyond our knowledge, and we've only scratched the surface. And people say, like, are you serious, Mo? I'm absolutely serious.
I feel like if the world's leading scientists, people who this is their entire life, this is their career, they are more studied and more accomplished than anyone else on the planet in this field. If they all collectively can say that and agree with you, then who are we to say that it's not true?
Right. And I'm not saying that everything that everyone says or alleges is factually accurate or believable. Like I was saying to you, Tiffany, off air, it's like, look, there's certain things that I've felt and experienced, and I can't say it's my late grandmother, in the house. I don't know what it is, but I know that there's more that we don't know than what we do know.
Want a quick little story?
Sure.
Old apartment I lived in. I just moved in and I was on the second floor of 2 floors. There was a sixplex, and person who lived below me had occupied my unit prior to me moving in. She had lived there for 25, 30 years. And, I was in the unit one day, and I don't smoke anything, meat included. Okay, I smoke nothing. And I was getting this overwhelming smell of cigarette smoke. No one in the building smoked. No one around the building was actively smoking. This went on for a couple of days. And on the second or third day, because it was so overwhelmingly strong, I wanted to go downstairs and, kind of wedge it or complain, right? Who's doing this? I got to figure this out. I didn't. I just kind of stayed put. And then I started hearing whistling. Random whistling, and it wasn't coming from outside. It's coming from inside the house. Inside the house, someone's whistling, and I would turn around, and the whistling would go away, and it was faint, it was loud, it was kind of playing with my mind. Well, I decided to go downstairs, and I talked to the tenant below me, and I said, "Hey, just a hunch. You lived here for 30 years?" She said, "Yes." I said, "Did anyone pass away during that time?" And she said, "Yeah, my father did." I said, "Was he a smoker?" She said, "Yes, he used to smoke a pipe all the time." I said, "Did he used to whistle?" And she's like, she kind of went white, put her, hand over her mouth, and she said, "Yes, all the time." And I did the whistle, and she said, "That's exactly what it sounded like." I said, "Well, can you tell your dad to leave me alone and get out the apartment? You're downstairs, leave me alone." But how can you explain that? I'm not a psychic. Although I play one on radio.
Yeah. I remember when I lived in Studio City, I lived at this place. It was 4250 Coldwater Canyon, unit, I think 104, if I remember correctly. And this is the only time I ever felt it. I felt when I was going to sleep just in my bedroom that there was someone always watching me. You could feel a presence. Never felt it in any other place in my life, at any other time in my life. It just felt like that someone was there. If I were to make a guess, it felt like my father's mother.
Oh.
It felt like there's a familiarity of the presence. I never felt afraid. There were times I just roll over. It's like, what? What is it you want?
Yeah.
What is he trying to communicate? Because it was habitual. It was consistent, and it was only in that one place of the apartment.
Yeah, and you can't explain it. You can't explain it.
Was it an alien? I don't know. Was it my late grandmother? I don't know. All I'm saying is I would go to my grave swearing that there was another presence there with me. And I have no physical evidence to corroborate it.
Ooh, I can't wait for the Halloween show.
Which hopefully will be here as another live broadcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're working on it.
I have my costume ready. I told Steph, I can't tell you. It's going to be great.
It's only July.
I'm ready.
She's one of those.
I'm one of those.
KFI AM 640. We'll see you tomorrow. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.